there, it's Jess with Selby Home. I wanted to show you guys how I made this panel full of old world charm and super fun to make. So this is just a piece of plain hobby wood, and I felt like it was the perfect size to go ahead and get out one of my gilded transfers from Iron Orchid Designs. And I ended up going with this beautiful Queen of the Nile foil transfer. I've been wanting to use it for a while, I just haven't had the right project. So I did this a little funky because I didn't have a plan, or I basically thought I had a plan and I went a different way. So it would have been easier to just go ahead and paint the entire panel. But instead I painted where I knew my transfer was going to go because I thought I'd be doing a completely different color around the edges. So if you do this, you don't have to do it in the same type of order. And this is a very dark brown chalk style paint. I'm just doing one layer of that color only, and then I'm going ahead and doing a second layer and adding in kind of a creamy white color. And then I'm just going to add some water and give them a rough blend. The gold foil transfers seem to really pop on a darker background. I generally start my project by figuring out which element I'm going to use and then pick my colors based on that. I really try to keep all of my creations practical and usable, and that's why I do a lot of wall decor, because I know that I'm going to use it or I'll need space to be filled in my booth. It's something that I feel can really bring a lot of character into your home. So I'm going to be adding my transfer next, but I need it to be completely 100% dry before moving on. The foil transfers are more time consuming, but I feel like the end result is worth it. So I apply it just like I do a transfer, but it's actually more forgiving also. If you lift up a corner and you still have some pieces left on your transfer, you can put it back down and still apply it. It's not going to tear like a normal transfer would, or at least not as badly. And if it does have a little mess up or something, you can't usually tell. Like, see, I missed the I right there, but I was able to still put it right back down and apply the rest of the letter. So that application did take a while, but now it's on and it's beautiful, and I always love gold. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to clay. And as per usual, I'm just dusting my molds with cornstarch first, and I'm using DOS clay. I'm going to basically create a unique frame around my transfer. This is very heavily vintage and antique inspired. Going to be grabbing mostly French style molds. This transfer is very apothecary looking to me, and I feel like the French Baroque style will go very well with that. And I will be applying these as I go. I want to use Mod Podge to make it a little easier on myself, and I'll also be sealing the transfer at the same time. Just so you guys know, it's still so hard for me to say Mod Podge. It should be Mod Podge with how I was raised in the South. I know that's a sore subject on YouTube with crafters. So if I have to cringe to make some of you guys not cringe, I'll take one for the team and say it the right way. This is a gorgeous mold. I use this one very often. And before adding my Mod Podge, I'm going to go ahead and dry fit it first. I'm not concerned about making a little bit of a mess on here because I'm doing a textured piece anyways. So getting a little cornstarch or clay on my transfer area is not a big deal for this project. I've found these awesome flat brushes that I get in bulk from Amazon that work great with Mod Podge. They're also perfect for if you're using pen art, fine line crackle or something like that where you have to throw the brush away later. Helps me to not feel so bad, but I'm able to clean them after using them with Mod Podge. So I'm just applying all over the area where my clay will be and going ahead and covering over the transfer also. And I'll be doing this in sections as I go. Now that I have built this really cool frame out of a different assortment of molds, I let it fully dry and I'm going to go ahead and paint the back of my panel. This is to help prevent warping. For the front, I end up going with that same dark brown color, and I wanted to mix it with baking soda and see what type of texture I could create with that. I did not measure, I just went for a very thick consistency. And I will be applying this mixture to all of the edges, even my moldings, and around the border of the frame. I have used baking soda for just texture, but I haven't used it to achieve the chippy look. I typically use texture powder for this. So I'm hoping it'll work well in the way that I'm intending. In order to achieve that, you have to stipple it on with a paintbrush, so basically just dab it on. As far as the sides go, I just want some heavier texture on all of the sides around the frame. And I'm getting what I can with this larger brush, and then afterwards I'll go in with a smaller brush and go over my clay molds a little bit more. And this is all about just taking something completely new and fresh and trying to make it look like it's been around a long time. Texture is one of the best ways to achieve that. The under layers are very important when it comes to aging. And I was just having a lot of fun with this piece. It's very therapeutic for me to paint. I think being creative is one of the best forms of therapy. So while my paint is still wet, I'm taking some more baking soda and sprinkling it around the edges. This is to help with that chippy look that I want to achieve later. And once I have it covered, I'm going to go ahead and spray it with some water and let that part sit. And now I'm going to go ahead and fill in those other areas that were a little tighter with a smaller brush. And I'm still using the textured creation here with the paint and baking soda. I want the moldings to be kind of crusty looking, and that's going to, I know, take away some of the details, but it's also going to add to the aged look. So here is where I might lose some of you. I went a little crazy with my color choices. I was just having a lot of fun, and I wanted to see what this looked like, layered. You don't have to do 3 different colors, and you don't have to do the same color combination. Even just this color alone would be pretty. I just wanted to continue to have a little fun, and I layered all of these 3 colors. Note that I let the brown and baking soda layer dry completely before moving on to this step. And I'm doing this very heavy because it's going to be covered back up, so I want some of these colors to shine through. I have no method to my madness here, just putting the colors on in random spots. And these are also a chalk style paint. So here's this layer dried. I know it looks kind of like a kid's project now, but don't worry, I'm gonna make it look aged and beautiful in just a minute. Now I'm just going to go in with another beautiful ivory colored chalk style paint. I'm getting mostly full coverage and then misting with water and wiping back in certain areas. And since these are all water-based paints, the water kind of reactivates them a little bit, and I end up with a little bit more of a blend. I'm just working in smaller sections for this. That way it doesn't have a chance for one section to dry too much before getting wiped back. I really love this mold at the top of the piece. It just looks like it was made for this project. I'll probably end up using that for most of the panels that I create this way just because it's such a perfect fit. I'm trying to quit buying molds because I have so many, but every time I do a project like this, I always feel like I wish I had one more. So now that I've covered this completely with the ivory paint, I'm going to speed up the drying and then take a scraper and go for the chippy look. It scraped back very easily thanks to that baking soda. And I just go very slowly for this and little sections at a time just to see what look I'm going for and achieving. I like to run my scraper along the sides also for some natural distressing. I'm very pleased with how this is turning out. I'll definitely be doing this again. I get a large bag of baking soda from Costco because I use it very often for all sorts of things. I still have a lot of texture powder left over from when I was a country chic stockist because I snagged them up when they were discontinuing the product. But I think it's safe to say that the baking soda is a great alternative. So I'm just putting these little paint triangles underneath my piece just to help me go ahead and seal the edges without it sticking to my paper. And this is General Finishes Satin Clear Coat. I do really like Dead Flat also, but I had this poured into the container already, so I decided to use this one. And I'm going to be using this to seal over the entire project again, including my transfer in case I missed any spots with the Mod Podge earlier. And I typically do 2 to 3 coats with the sealer. For this project, I did 2. So now I want to give it just a little bit of gold. I'm going to be picking from my Rub and Buff gold waxes, and I found one that I thought would coordinate well. And then I'm just going to use my finger to highlight the moldings. And even with that crusty texture, once the wax is applied, you can still see all the details on my moldings. This also helps tie my transfer into the overall piece. This was super fun to create. I hope I've inspired you to try something similar. Also, if you would like to let me know in the comments what you are looking forward to seeing next from me, I would greatly appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you guys have an awesome week. And remember to like and subscribe.